A good day above the ground. It's time to talk about the sport of cricket. This time round, we are back again with the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League B, and we are done with the second round. And besides me is a gentleman that I should call him the usual suspect because he's always here with us. But my name's Mugalu Jeremiah, and this is the site. Let us dive straight into the action or what we are going to be talking about today. Let the gentleman first introduce himself, then we can move on.
Um, Good day, whatever. I don't know. It may be good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on where you're watching from. But my name is Dennis Musali, and I'm the communications manager for Uganda Cricket Association.
Yeah, at times I get that feel that you should even stop introducing yourself. But then I remember that every day we do have a new viewer of cricket who has to learn one or two things. But I I know most of the people here know what we are talking about when I talk about the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League B, because it's I think a majority of what we have covered about cricket. So we are done with the second round, and Uganda is still top of the log. And good times to be a Ugandan. I think it's the usual statement I use most of the time we are here, because the hard time round we had a lot of competition from Jersey in the previous time when we were in the Challenge League B. But this time round, yes, the competition is there, but we are on top of the competition. How happy are you as Dennis?
Yeah, I'm very happy, very satisfied. I think the team has done well. Like you've mentioned, mirror results of what we had in the first round: 4 wins and one. The one draw is normally a washout. We had a game abandoned with Italy, but I think we're very satisfied in very, very difficult conditions. Like we talked about it in the preview. But the team was able to, sometimes winning and playing is dependent on so many other things, not just your skills. They had to bear with the very, very cold conditions, small grounds, but they were able to adapt. That shows the maturity of the team and how they're able to come up with a good performance. So we have, as the cricket fraternity, very, very happy, and we hope that this time we don't slip up. In the last Challenge League, we slipped up and unfortunately missed out on qualifying for the next round. And we hope that this time, come the third round, we do what we have to do. If you look at the table and how things are looking like, if we can be able to get 3 wins, those should be enough. At worst, if we get 3 wins, we shall finish in second position. But we more or less feel like I think us and Italy will be the teams that are moving on.
Success is what any team would like to attain at any given level, and I would say we were successful at that stage. But what do you attribute this success to so far?
I think it's the maturity of the team. The core of the team has been the same for the last about 3 years. So there are not so many new players, maybe apart from Robinson Obuya. The rest of the guys have been around. Even Raghav, who looked like he's just starting his time with the Cricket Cranes, he has played as many as 18 times before that particular tournament. So the core is the same. The experience in the team is very good. You even feel like when Mahatani left and someone else came up, I think nothing much changed. The team just kept performing at its highest of levels. So I hope they continue to do the same. They are just very, very experienced, and I hope they continue to do the same. And from this round, we keep going, like sort of gaining. After this round, we are going to the next level, and then to the next level, like that. So I feel that with this group of players, you have about 3 years of them at the peak of their powers, and then maybe during that time you need to start bringing maybe new faces. We saw Baguma, Kakuru, being put in there slowly but surely, so that by the time the other guys are starting to get tired, you still have the continuity to go forward.
We were comfortable throughout the tournament, but of course, there's one game that I would like to point out, which was the last game that wasn't as easy as we thought it would be. But yeah, we got the result. So diving into that particular game against Tanzania, what do you think were the turning points for us to attain victory on the day?
Yeah, Tanzania was not a very comfortable win. It's the first, I think, our lowest total in the Challenge League so far, 148, but we're able to bore them out for 87, I think, and then we ended up picking up the result. But on that day, they mentioned that the conditions were very tough. You saw it was a bit, cloudy, so it helped a lot with the sim bowlers. Tanzania sim bowlers going through us, but even us, then that's when I remember we mentioned it that some of the key players for Uganda are going to include Juma Miyagi. Juma Miyagi came to the party in that game, bowling some shearing pace, got 6 for 17. The Tanzanians had no clue about his bowling, and were able to get the win. So sometimes you see those are the signs of a very good team, that even when they don't play well, they can still be able to get a result. So I think we're lucky we got out of jail with that one. I think the result in the first round, I would mirror that to what happened to us in Italy. We didn't play so well against Italy in Kampala, but somehow we got the result. Same thing against Tanzania. We don't want to say we were dominant after scoring only 148. We didn't play well that day, but somehow we managed to get the result.
Talking of Juma Miyaji, one of the standout performers of a tournament. In fact, I would like anyone out there to get to know that when we were here, I think he's one of the boys that you tipped that are going to put up an outstanding performance, just like Cosmas Cheuta. In particular, let me call them the pace bowlers in general, that they would do the difference. So Juma Miyaji put up his career best performance. Do you get that feel that he's there yet?
No, he's not. He's certainly not. He missed some time when he got injured. He had some back issues, but he's come back. He's fit enough. He's growing up. He's still learning so many things, and he's still building his body. When you see him, he's still trying to put on a lot more weight for him to be a good pace bowler. I think we just need to look after Juma Miyagi. Uganda Cricket needs to look after him. As long as we look after him, he's very humble. He knows how far the game has taken him from his humble background. He's willing to learn. He improved his batting so that he can also make a contribution with the bat. So he's one for the future, certainly, for Uganda Cricket. And as long as he can remain fit and people can look after him, he will be a very, very good asset for Uganda Cricket.
I'm a man who favors spin over pace anyway, most of the time. But I would love to talk about Henry Senyondo. But on the other side, before we talk about Henry Senyondo, let's talk about the MVP of a tournament, or the most outstanding gentleman of a tournament. I would like to put it out there on record that not many believed in him, but he's done it. Raghav Dhawan. What do you say about his performance in this second round?
Yeah, that's a sign of a good player. You see, when your back is against the wall, you're able to punch back and find a way. Other players sometimes will go and sulk, Coach Tanjagala, things like that. But I think clearly he knew he had some weaknesses. He went and worked on his game. And I think he played in conditions that favor his style of play. You see, even batting has styles that I may struggle in Uganda, but I won't struggle in England. I could struggle in Australia, but I won't struggle in South Africa. So I think the conditions in Hong Kong favored his style of play, ball coming to bat, and allowed him to play his shots. He showed a very good arsenal of shots. He had so many shots that he could be able to pick up from, which is a very, very good thing. So I'm also very happy for him personally. The first Ugandan batter, I think, to score 4 half centuries in 4 games in a row. Not that level of consistency. We are not yet used to it, especially in Ugandan batters. One day Jeremiah gets 100, next day he gives us 2 zeros, then he gets an 80. He keep you guessing. Tumusura. Then he could see a performance that gets you back on the team. But I'm happy for him, and it is good now. He's shown that the sort of things that he can do. I remember even Ronak, when he came here, he struggled a bit. But then later on, when he improved, he started scoring runs freely. So you hope that Raghav can continue in the same vein of form. He was a phenomenal for the team. Even when we scored 148, I think he got 68 of those 148 himself alone. So it showed that he's not scoring runs. First of all, when he started scoring, guys were he's scoring against the weak teams. But of course, we didn't play against Italy, but he scored against Hong Kong. And then guys are like, okay, now we have allowed. He's scoring 50s, 100s. So we hope that he continues to improve and do well for the team. And hopefully now that's a sign that we shall see him in the future. Before this tournament, people were like, this might be his last tournament. He may not come back. But clearly it means that we shall see more of him in the future.
Should we say that we've gotten a replacement to Ronak Patel?
I think we need both of them. Imagine if we had the both of them. Ronak is still, I think, struggling with his fitness, and hopefully someday he can be able to gain his full fitness and play for the team. So we'll be looking forward to. I can imagine having the both of them, especially in 50 over cricket. And remember, if Uganda goes to the next level, we are going to play teams that are more difficult than the ones we are playing right now. So if you can have two guys who guarantee you centuries when they walk onto bat, that will be massive for Ugandan cricket.
Back to the bowling. A strong bowling attack. Of course, we've talked about Cosmas Cheuta. But I want us to, I want you to tell us what have they done different in order to improve Uganda's bowling attack, both Cosmas Cheuta and Alfesh Ramjani.
I think they've done well, and Cosmas really backed up. Cosmas didn't get as many wickets as Juma, but he was a very good backup. It is backup in such a way that Jeremiah is tidy and I'm also tidy, so it doesn't feel like one of you is a weakness. Normally you'd have where Jeremiah is tidy and Musa is the one making runs, but both of them were very, very tidy. They bowled with good pace. They exploited the conditions very well, which was a very, very good thing to see. And I think they are very, very happy with themselves and their performance. I hope they can really do well. But Alpesh again showed his value as an all-rounder. An all-rounder is someone who contributes with two of their skills. He did well with the batting. He did well with the bowling. I think he got 2 half centuries. One of the games he picked a 5 as well. So he's showing the true value of why you're playing all-rounders. Sometimes teams play all-rounders. They play all-rounders when they are hoping that if he doesn't do well in this, he can do well in the other. So we'd rather have that sort of player rather than having a specialist who can only do well in one skill. But Uganda plays a lot of all-rounders. I think we play as many as 6, which is most teams will play a maximum of 2 all-rounders. But Uganda plays as many as 6. So Alpesh helped sort of answer that question, that this is the reason why we play. Some days, I think in one of the games was brought to bat up the order ahead of a regular batter, someone who was in a team chosen as a batter. So, which was a good thing to see. It verifies, it validates why the team is going for more all-rounders in the team to try and get the results. So Alpesh, I think, continues to show his value in the team as an all-rounder.
Going into the next round, we are on top of the table, and Italy are second. Of course, they are a game down. But does this? How is this going to affect our approach in the next round?
I think maybe even as Ugandans had made a miscalculation of thinking maybe we want Hong Kong to beat Italy. But ultimately from that win, Hong Kong is 8 points behind us, meaning they need to win 4 games, 4 games convincingly out of 5 when they go for the third round, and hope that we slip up. So that puts Hong Kong sort of out of the equation. It's not impossible, but they will need to do so much. Then for Italy, we're only 2 points ahead of them. So it is us and them who can be able to, who will be vying virtually for top spot. If the both of us win the same number of games, then Uganda will still go through. The challenge is if Italy wins all their 5 and they will be on the same number of points, but Italy has a better net run rate than us, so they'll be able to progress as number 1 in the group. But anyway, at the next level, even seedings don't matter. You will all be in the same group, and you have to beat up on each other. So ultimately, now the primary goal for the team is to just finish second at worst and then move on. And then maybe things could change at the next level. So Italy are a bit of a challenge, but Italy has so much improved as a team. They were relegated in the last round that we played of the Challenge League. Went to the qualifiers, did what they had to do, got promoted back. Imagine being promoted to the next class, and then the people you found in that class, you start beating you start topping the class. So that is what sort of Italy has done, and they continue to improve. They came with a totally different team in Hong Kong, and everyone thought maybe they will slip up. There was no chance for them to slip up. And when the third round comes around, it will be during the off-season for some of their best players. They were missing their key players because they were in season with their club teams in the UK, in Australia. Mostly in Australia. The UK is still in winter, but mostly in Australia. So those players were not available. But in November, the season is off in Australia as well as in the UK. So all those players will be available. Meaning for the third leg in Tanzania, they will have their full-strength team available for selection. But and I've played a bit in Tanzania. The difference, their grounds are not so different from Uganda. Maybe you still feel Uganda could have an edge because they understand the conditions. But now the assignment for Uganda is don't think about anyone else. First, think about yourself. If you get those 3 wins against Bahrain, Singapore, and Tanzania, that could be enough for you. But for you to be comfortable, get a result against either Italy and Hong Kong, and it's game set and next level.
I'm one of those people who know that we can beat Italy, most especially on this African ground, so well that I'm also so sure that we are going to qualify. But anyway, going on to the next question. 4 wins, a draw in Hong Kong. It's something to jubilate about at this point of time because we are top of the table. I think I've said it around 3 times. That's how proud I am with the cricket cranes. But what lessons do we take into the next round?
I think some good lessons. I think not to get complacent, especially against the. No one expected us to score 148 against Tanzania. Maybe the guys were a bit complacent, thinking, something will give, Tumusobola. Then somehow we put on a very low total. So I think it's just complacency. It's like the boys raise their games against the good teams. And then maybe Italy, you're thinking, let's lower the gear. But you need to keep your guard up. Anything could happen. Even against Singapore, was surprised by the number of runs they scored. Eventually, we got the win, but they scored so many runs against us. So I think just that complacency bit. You can see the tricky games were for Uganda were those teams that you think they were going to beat. A big total against Singapore that you had to chase, and then very little runs against Tanzania. So I hope it's just that complacency, how to deal with it. But ultimately, I think that team is very good in 50 over cricket, and they can only go to greater heights from here on.
With the final round ahead, which areas do you think we can strengthen? Yes, we've been talking about the batting order, and I think Raghavas was the strongest in our batting. Maybe Captain Riazat Alisha also came in at some point. A couple of batters in there. Bowling, Cosmas Cheuta is in there, has done the job. Juma Miyaji, we've been talking about him. Henry Senyondo, the one I promised we are going to talk about. He also came in, although we never thought that spin would take a center stage at some point. But yeah, where do you think we can strengthen?
I think it's the consistency of the batting. We still get out of the blocks very slowly. So we need our top 4 to be a little bit more solid. We still rely a lot on our middle order. We just want the top 4 guys to be a bit consistent. This time Raghav, amongst all of them, put his hand up. But you hope that Mangela got a start somewhere, 48, but then had the other scores were single-digit scores. So you're hoping that Obua had a start also somewhere, but then another starts, but never converted. So you hope that they can be a little bit more consistent. Give the middle order a very good foundation. Imagine if our top order could put on 100 runs between themselves, amongst themselves, maybe inside 20 overs. I think our middle order now will be very, very destructive because you've made the bowlers tired. They're already frustrated. Imagine if you're 100 for no loss in 20 overs. The guys are already starting now. When shall we get Dinesh? When shall we get Alupesh? Guys start getting tired. So the guys like Alpesh who come later and Dinesh can be able to capitalize. So we just need to be more consistent. We've been able to get the results. That's a very good thing. But if our our top order can be able to score runs consistently at a good rate, then we shall be world beaters.
There comes to a close to our ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League. Before now, because we are waiting for the next round. When is the next round, by the way?
The next round, they say, could be at the back end of this year, probably somewhere in November and December. But they will let us know if it doesn't happen this year, then it will happen early next year.
Good. The viewer out there now knows when to wait for that prestigious tournament. But at this point of time, let's talk about what's next onto the calendar of the Cricket Cranes, which is preparations for the T20 World Cup qualifiers that will be in Zimbabwe. How is the team preparing so far?
Yeah, the T20 qualifiers will be in Zimbabwe in September. The guys came back Monday, so they've been given a rest. But I think they will start preparations a bit later to try and prepare for the T20 qualifiers. Um, is going to be that T20 qualifiers is what takes us back to the World Cup. If people should know, the Challenge League is a journey to a different World Cup. The T20 qualifiers is a journey to the T20 World Cup in 2026. That will be in India and Sri Lanka. So we're very excited, and I think the team feels they have it within themselves to be able to earn another qualification. So it's going to be a good one. But for now, the coach hasn't put out a program for the team. You'll probably see the players playing a couple of local games here. We will most likely start with the T20 league, normally to try and support them on that path to try and get them ready for the tournament, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
Should you hope to see some new faces that were training or that were taking part in this 50 over cricket come in later on?
Yeah, most certainly. Unfortunately for Uganda, we are not as privileged as India. India can have 3 different teams for all the 3 different formats. But Uganda, we are still at that level where we are using the same sort of players. The guys who play T20 cricket are the ones who play 50 over cricket. So normally the changes are not so many. But maybe 1 or 2 names could change. But entirely, the core of the team will remain the same.
Oh, I was expecting you to tell me that my good friend Simon Cesars is going to be appearing.
Yeah, that's why I said maybe 1 or 2 faces. Names could change, but the core of the team, it will be difficult for you to leave out Juma Miyagi, Cosmas, Riazat Alisha, Dinesh. So the core will remain the same, but maybe 1 or 2 names could change.
The captain and the leadership of the team. How is it so far? I haven't, by the way, got a chance to talk to most of the players. How it is, the leadership flow, and how it is with the Riazat. How different was it with Brian Masaba? But how do you see it at this point of time?
I can't speak. I'm not part of the team, so I can't speak for them. But I think Rizwu has done what all teams, international teams, want from their captains. They want their captains to always lead from the front. So most international teams, you find that they select their best player as their captain, and then they hope that his performances can inspire the rest of the team. And Riazat has done just that. And even in this tournament, I heard him speaking today somewhere else that it gave him the opportunity to learn how to see the game differently, how to improve on his tactics. So you feel that he's learning on the job, but what he's done different is to lead from the front with his own performances. In the past, Brian was more of a very, very good tactician. I would call it a tactician. He read the game very well. He knew when to make bowling changes. And I think one of the things for me that affected what we missed out on Brian was that a lot of times he sacrificed himself for the team. So we never got to see his skills. He never did so much batting sometimes and things like that, because ultimately he was trying to do the job for the team. He was sacrificing himself for the greater good, which is the team. But for Riazat Alisha, now he bats at number 5, right in the middle, in the thick of things. You could walk in when Uganda is 12 for 3, and as a captain, you have to stand up and repair the damage. So the difference has been that for him, he's led with his. He's not going to go around saying I'm the best captain in terms of tactics, making the best bowling changes, but he can proudly walk around by saying that as a captain, I lead from the front.
One thing I would like to pose to you is, how have you ensured consistency in both our 50 over and T20 cricket so far?
Like I said, one of the advantages for us is that we have the same team. So it's just a mindset switch for them that now it is 50 over cricket, now it's T20. Usually for teams that play all 3 formats, you would find that they are very strong in one format and then they are weak in another format. And then you keep wondering why. But because they have one solid team in one format and they keep changing the team in the other format. So for us, since we have the same group of players, they sort of understand the assignment and what they are supposed to do. So the changes are not so many in terms of what are we doing and what are we not. The guys have already good chemistry. They understand each other. So I think that has been our advantage in sort of we found the balance between both formats, 50 over and T20 cricket.
Lastly, there are a lot of memories. By the way, Dennis has told me about cricket. Most of them I've not even watched them. I've not seen them. But so far, I know each and every tournament that you have a look at, you have a memory in your mind. And World Cup, you may tell me one. T20, when Uganda went for the first time in the T20 World Cup, you may tell me one. But this time round, in the second round, what moment would you see and say, did you see and say that, have not seen this before? What does it mean, or what can it change, or which impact can it bring into a team?
Yeah, I think for me, the outstanding performance. First of all, watching the games was also very difficult. By the time the game would end, you spend the rest of the day dozing in office. But I think the best performance for me was Juma Miyagi, that 6 for the 17. He bowled some blistering pace. I didn't want to be a batter for Tanzania in that game. And one of those wickets, I think it was either his fourth or fifth. A very, very good bouncer. That is what you want from a pace bowler. Very good bouncer that took off the glove, and but Fred Achelam was alert to the danger and he took a very good catch over his head. So I think that was a very good performance for me. But even Raghav, I think his batting was selfish. He wanted to do it for himself, but you know there are players who do it, who when they do things for themselves, ultimately those things help the team. You know, like sort of Cristiano Ronaldo in football and all. So he wants to do well for himself, but ultimately when he does well, the team does well as well. I think in one of the games where he got a half century, he got to Buya run out and Kenneth Weiser. So everyone was saying, watch the VAR, yo. Eh? But you know, he went on to score a half century. Yeah, but exactly, that's what I mean. He wanted to do well for himself so badly. And ultimately, that helped us as well to be able to do well. So I think those were very, very good performances for me, for outstanding in a perspective. But the whole unit as well, I think, you know, when you play cricket on a very small ground, I've played, I think when we were going to the World Cup, we played in some very small grounds in Sri Lanka, and you as a wicket keeper, you're standing here, but the boundary is behind you, so you keep wondering, if I miss the ball, it's just going to go for a boundary. Yes. So there are so many things like sort of trying to work against you, but then that it sort of challenges your skill as well. How good are you now? The point for you as a keeper is to make sure you don't stop the ball. You don't miss any balls. You have to take everything. So it pushes you to to work a little bit harder, challenge your skill instead of being in familiar conditions where I say, even if I miss it, maybe Jeremiah will run around and cut it off. Yeah. Now in your head, you know if I miss it, it's going for a boundary immediately. So you see the guys in those sort of conditions, they raise their level. They raise their level of skill. You test your skill a lot more. You ask more things of your skill than you've been used to, and we're able to come through. So I think we did very, very well. Maybe for me, one of the things I saw, it looked like now the team is sort of starting to move on from Franco. He didn't play any game in Hong Kong. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if that's a message to him or it was just tactical, but it sort of starts to show you that you start to read the room. If you start to read the room, that you know what, maybe I'm not that required that much. If a player like Cyrus Kakuru won't mind, he's still very young. Yeah. But for someone like Franco, it starts sending a message to you that we used to go to you, but now there are other options that we go to. So you start to read the room, and when you self-assess, you start to think about other things that you could be able to contribute to the team. Maybe the playing bit is not the one that is required the most of you from the team. Then you start to think about certain things. Should I? Am I holding a place that could fit a younger player could gain from this experience than myself? For me, that sort of showed some. It's sort of like a sign, and maybe I don't know if he's had a conversation with the technical team, but from those of us who are outside looking in, that tells you something.
I don't know if Dennis was talking as a fan or as a media communications manager, but one thing I can tell you it is that he said it from his heart. But lastly, any message for the cricket fans as we end into the last, what would I say? Last distinction of the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League that you said may probably be there in December, November, or next year?
Yeah, I think first of all, people have maybe because we are winning. Everyone wants to associate with winning things. The team has been doing well. A lot of people have been following. Even at ungodly hours of the morning, people are watching the games. Thank you very, very much for supporting the cricket cranes and supporting cricket as well. For example, the team has partners. For example, if Leica sees that there's a sort of following for Uganda cricket, even them, they will know that they are getting value for their money. So for the fans who follow the team, very, very grateful. And I think the biggest supporters for the team have been you guys, the media. You're always, putting us on pressure, always the information, like, can we get interviews and things like that. So we're also very, very grateful to you for supporting the team. And we hope that the guys just keep doing what they've been doing. There will probably be a time when we start suffering. Yeah, one run was, we've been there before. But for now, let us enjoy the good times. And I hope they can last as long as possible.
Let us enjoy the good times were the words of Dennis Musali, the Media Communications Manager of the UCA. But we have come to the end of this show, and we still have a lot, by the way, to bring you from the cricket world, just because today maybe we are short at this point of time. Many people are still in holiday, and you would say in some time to come, they will be here with us to talk cricket. But for now, it's a wrap from us.
We have a lot of local stuff, by the way, coming up. Our under 19 team will be going to go into Nigeria end of March into early April. But before that, next week they will be playing a series against Tanzania, a warm-up series basically. They'll be playing a series here in Lugogo against Tanzania. So I hope people can be able to come and watch the next Juma Miyagis, the next Cosmas Chewutas, playing against Tanzania as they prepare for the under 19 World Cup qualifier. This year we are celebrating Women's Day differently. We are going to host an international Women's Day series. We have 3 teams that are going to be visiting: Hong Kong, Namibia, and Nepal. So now at least the local fans, can also come and watch our Victoria Pals as they play those 4 teams. For some of the top teams in women's cricket will be in Uganda during the Women's Day period. And we hope that the fans can come out and see. So for now, we shall park the cricket cranes and focus on the baby cricket cranes and as well as the Victoria Pals.
Dennis has uncovered some that I wanted to uncover a little bit later. But then, I've just seen Omara pass by. Then I was like, oh, you're talking about the next Juma Miyajis. And yeah, at least I can see a picture of what you're talking about. But it's a wrap from us. This is the site. Like, subscribe, follow. We shall be back with more from the world of sport. Bye for now.